the Nurse of Color. How are you doing?
I'm good, Michael. Thanks for getting to
Oh,
talk to you again.
it's great to getting to talk to you too. When I knew this film was going to be special, the moment I saw it
Oh,
at the long lead that we had earlier this year,
oh.
and I took my mom to the premiere, and she connected it with it so much
Oh my God,
because
Michael. Oh my God, I
it
love that.
it's it was like her own experience too, and it was my own as a child of immigrant parents. We connected both with the stories of Bernie and Ember. So I what I was wondering is, can you talk about some of the cinematic inspirations, because she was a, excuse me, she was the one that took me to the movies. So I was wondering how you were able to tie some cinematic inspirations from other films and tie it to your own experiences and make it feel so organic and feel so real to life.
There are several pieces to that, Michael. I mean, because the film wasn't just a romance, there was like a family drama involved as well. So there were a lot of different movies that were very inspiring for me. Just to give an example, on like the family drama side, there was there were movies like Godfather 2, that opening sequence with Vito Corleone, a young 9-year-old Vito, coming to the Americas for the first time, and the wonderful Gordon Willis cinematography of Ellis Island, and going through that sort of process there, all the way up to Oliver Stone's Joy Luck Club. I remember some of the cinematic moments of how they photographed sort of China in the past, when one of the parents were having kids for the first time, and sort of understanding what nostalgia was, understanding what trauma was, and trying to find her own way around it. Those examples on the family drama side of it. But then even like having a family business, like I grew up in a market, but at the same time trying to find something that's universal took a lot of different artists that were bringing sort of that cinematic love from so many different places. These things take forever, so you got plenty of time to think about how to be inspired.
Yeah, actually, that was going to talk about that kind of little shop experience where as an Indonesian we used to go to this one place near Orange County, and it was there was such a camaraderie. It was like a family almost, because
Yes.
even though we're not blood related, they knew each other, and we were treated like family. So I was wondering how you and your artists were able to capture those moments, because this is not just like, because it's not mostly based on your experience. It's not all of it. There's a collection of sorts. So I wanted
That's
to
right.
know how you brought that all together so nicely.
It was trying to talk about the history of it too, like exactly what you were saying about that Indonesian community in SoCal. It was everyone bringing up their experiences in their own communities from where they had grown up too, finding those sort of little towns that, where, Chinese or Japanese or Mexicans or anyone that connected, and what did that feel like? And, there's just the idea of the visual look of a neighborhood when the signs start to be in your own languages, how, the community will start to form around a hub of sorts, and, the language and the foods, and all of that had to be built. And so there was a lot of discussions and a lot of art in just building that immaculate reality. But then in story, there was a lot of artists sharing their experiences of, oh, like we had customers in our store that just stayed there. They never bought anything, but they just liked to speak the same language and be around themselves. Like, oh, right. Like I didn't have that in our store because we were in the Bronx. There weren't a lot of Koreans there, but it was something that a lot of people connected to. And so you were using both art and story to start to really build those type of feelings in that neighborhood.
So since a lot of this has to do with immigrant experience and as immigrant children, I was wondering about how you were able to translate that uh, there is this thing beyond uh, the whole. No, I don't know how to say it. I guess immigrant guilt. They want us, or the immigrant parents expect us to have this carry on their legacy or have like a secure job of sorts.
Yeah.
and how we can be able to go beyond that, carry on that tradition while still covering out our own path. Uh, how are you able to translate that message, or make it, at least communicate that message, that saying it's okay and it's going to be fine in the end?
I think it was really the loss of my parents during the making of this thing that helped me focus what they ultimately wanted. So much of my, young life was like, that sort of cliched, you know, sort of Asian parent where it was very strict. But in my, 20s and into, late early 30s, you would understand that like that's just the way they communicated, but underneath it was just simply love, that they just wanted you to be, healthy and have a good life. And when my parents passed away, I was, it was sad, but I was so joyous because they left me and my brother and our kids that legacy of, this concept of the shop was never the dream, you were the dream. That little idea was from the very beginning of making this film. And so I would communicate those feelings to anyone who would hear it, honestly. And as simple as it was, there was great emotion underneath there that a lot of people connected to. And it was about trying to find resonance with that particular feeling. And so that was the job, was just trying to see if is there a way that we could connect to that idea in all sorts of ways. And that became sort of our little guiding light.
So you mentioned that this was a 7-year process, and during that you went through some great tragedies, but also some uplifting moments. What during that 7-year process did you actually figure out the story, I guess, and the visuals, and saying like, this is it, this is what we needed to do? Because
Yeah.
sometimes it goes up to the witching hour, so to speak, but sometimes you
Yes.
kind of figure out, and it's just kind of the momentum carrying it on to the end. So when did you figure that out? Or yeah.
There was, I think it was around screening 5. The first several screenings, it was, this war movie of a daughter fighting against her father. It was a really intense sort of version of a movie. It was pretty out there, where she was exploding her father's shop, sabotaging things, and the father was sabotaging her life, and it was very sort of spiteful film. And I think that was just me processing, some of the sad things that happened with my parents. But the heart of it was still about just appreciating them. And so then the next version, it would be discarding that, and trying to understand how this triangle of this love story worked between a father and a daughter and this water guy and this firewoman. And the next couple screenings would just be honing around there. And by screening 5, this idea of the flood came at the end. That idea of Ember repressing her emotions, of her truth, that she has to tell her dad that what her true feelings are, so to metaphorically build this flood that would be unleashed at the end of the movie, sort of began to take root. And there was still a lot of other things that are different, but that ultimately began a path to the later screenings of just focusing that idea, because she just loved her father and mother so much and understood their sacrifices so much that she couldn't tell her truth. And that was the version, I think.
Okay, we will like that. I love that, this version. Anyway, I have my final question. Since it is, the 15th anniversary of Wally, and it's
Yeah.
on the Newman score,
Yeah.
I was wondering what it was like to work with him, and if we are going to get this Elemental score on vinyl, because I love this score so much. I just need to listen to it on repeat. So
Michael, I'm with you. It was one of the greatest experience of my professional life, to be honest, getting to work with him. I had no idea what that process was going to be like. And when jumping in with him, he was an actor, meaning like he just wanted to know motivations. He wanted to just know feelings that we were reaching for. I kept thinking it was going to just be about themes. Like, okay, this is Ember and Wade's theme. This is the theme for the fire neighborhood. And he just, like thoughtfully, communicated like that's not his process. and it was much more like a performer, where he was just reaching for behavior and motivation that would start to fuel the film. Now, the vinyl, I'm with you, Michael. I said
Okay.
that there could
Yes.
have been a vinyl, but like, I think we need to keep getting more people in love with it, because, you know, the vinyl, they don't do CDs anymore even, and so,
No.
you know, trying to get that vinyl thing is the next step, because we thought about a cover and everything, but I think we just
Oh,
need enough momentum for
okay.
more people to really love the score to get that next step.
I'm
But
gonna have to start streaming it more and more just so I can say, hey, we need it on vinyl instead. So
yeah,
thank you. So,
yeah, I really love the score so much. Like, he gave us a real tremendous gift.
yeah.
Yeah, just amazing.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the opportunity or taking the time to talk to us about this film. It is so amazing, and I can't believe how much it connected with my mom and connected with me, and I connected with a lot of other people. So it was really such a touching film. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for noticing my Tsum Tsum collection, Elias.
Yeah.
That's so amazing.
Fanboys, professional artists, and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me. The hard knock